So it says that we're live, but I never trust it. So I like to sit here for a second and just kind of like BS with my own damn self. Somebody just messaged me. Hi, big girl. Okay, get over there. Thank you, Holly. I just got out of GF. What's that? All right, let's see if it went and did what it's supposed to do. And then we can say who the fuck we are, what we're doing. I just like to check because I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, look, there we are. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good already. All right, so let me share this on my Facebook page. Welcome to Whimsical Wednesday. It's Ballora and Michelle.
Hi, everyone.
And we are going to talk about ritual. But first, I just want to say if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, either way, like and share the video, leave a comment, tell us what you think, give us some ideas for something you want to hear. If you have any questions, feel free. And if you'd like to join us, we can even throw you up on the panel and you can talk to us. All comments will be seen. And thanks for watching. And let's get on with it. So Laura went away to a writers conference and she wants to tell us a little bit about that. Where we talk about the elements of ritual.
Yeah, so I just got back from Virginia, and I love Virginia, by the way. Just the area we were was Norfolk, Portsmouth area,
Yeah.
right on the river, and it's like a naval town. So they have, battleships in the river, and there's the Coast Guard there too. So in the morning, we'd go out to the coffee shop, and there'd be, um, both naval officers and uh, Coast Guard guys coming in, and they all look like they're 12. But they're all dressed in their uniforms and stuff, and so cute. And the coffee shop itself looked like a movie set, like if a director was like, okay, you want to create this movie set in New York City that's like really kind of hipster boho coffee shop, friendly neighborhood place where everybody hangs out, that type of thing. Get that in your mind. And that's really what this place was in like real life.
That's really cool.
Yeah, really cute place. And the guy, I don't know if he was the owner or if he was just working there as the barista, but he literally had caffeine for his circulatory system.
He was Tweak's
family. My God. Like 7 o'clock in the morning, and he is bouncing off the walls, which was simultaneously adorable, and I wanted to strangle him.
Well, I mean, he has to do that because he's selling you coffee and getting you ready for the day. So.
Yes, I'm like, I have not had caffeine yet, so but yeah, it was a really great experience. The hotel was fun. But kind of like everywhere right now, they were understaffed.
Yeah.
So there was, kind of some issues with the staffing, and also they had done some recent renovations that you could really tell they were cutting some corners on.
Yeah.
So, but it was less like an inconvenience and more like just a funny thing. And so this conference is, it's been around, I think this was the 11th or 12th year.
Should tell them what the name of it is.
It's GRL, Gay Romance Literature Retreat. And it's for both authors and readers. The authors come and do panels and talk about, their writing, and they do book signings. And then the readers that love them also come and get books and get things signed, and it's a really great time. And this was only the second time I've gone. The first time was in 2018, so pre-COVID. And I'm really glad. I mean, it's kind of like having, just like any thing that has that a lot of people have an interest in, it kind of develops its own tribe.
Yep.
So and that's exactly what the experience is like going there, is you get with all these people that have the same interests in LGBTQ literature
Yeah.
and fiction, and just a really fun time. But of course, you got all those authors together, and the imaginations are off the chart. So again, it's a naval town, and the hotel. The hotel is kind of naval themed. So when you walk through the lobby, I call it the haunted picture gallery because you got like portraits of
old
like
dead soldiers.
Yes, like admirals and stuff.
Yeah.
On and they're all kind of like stiff-laced, old-timey oil paintings.
Yeah.
And none of them will look at each other. And I'm like, can you imagine spending all eternity across the aisle from somebody that you're trying to avoid looking at?
No.
And then, so there's about, I don't know exactly how many people attended. I know it was upwards of 300.
That's a lot of people.
It was a lot of people. The hotel has 3 elevators.
And so were all these people staying in the hotel too?
Most of them, not all, but most did stay in the hotel.
Wow.
3 elevators, and one of them only worked occasionally. So,
that's scary. So did people get stuck in the elevator?
Essentially, well, you would press the button and that one would never come. So we don't know why.
Because those guys were looking at each other in the fucking lobby going, fuck all y'all coming in here talking shit about us and making up stories and crap. So let me just ask you this though. So you guys are all writers, so you have a lot of shit to say, but is it always just in your head and it's pretty much quiet, or do you all really talk to each other a lot? Like if it was Sages that were there, we'd all be
look,
that like to talk like I do.
You will not find an author that does not like to talk about their books. That's just a thing. Now, the more experienced authors have come to realize that nobody else wants to actually hear you talk about their books. So they kind of rein themselves in, unless they're specifically in like this type of conference where they're there to talk about their books. But yeah, when you get 2 or more authors together, that's all you're gonna hear is book talk, because we rarely get the opportunity to just let all that out without the person across from us having their eyes glaze over and that look like, oh my God, please stop.
That's funny.
Yeah. So one of the elevators that did work though, we named it the Angry Elevator.
Why?
It had something wrong with it, so that when the doors would open and people would get out, and before the people were even out of the elevator, it was already trying to close. So you would put your hand in the way of the door to keep it open.
Yeah.
And it would immediately start buzzing angrily at you, like,
Jesus.
hurry up, get out, get in, everybody sit down, shut up.
It wasn't the ghost sailors?
That's why we called it, some of us called it the Angry Elevator, some called it the Haunted Elevator, or the Demon Elevator. So
then you for sure should not have gotten into it if you called it the Demon Elevator.
But when everybody would get in finally, and you took your hand out from the doors would immediately, like, really forcefully and fast slam shut with this huge clanging bang of metal, like you were on your way to the pits of hell in this elevator.
When I was little, I was afraid of fucking elevators, man.
It was really funny.
I wouldn't even get in them. My grandmother worked at a department store.
Oh no.
And my mom was always taking me there for stuff. I don't know what we went there for, but I'm probably most of the time to pick her up or take her back to work. And if we had to go in there and go to the elevator, I would make people go to escalators no matter how far across the store we had to go, or take the stairs. I would make them do that too. Then for a while I got scared of escalators too. So there was no escalators, no elevators. Everyone had to go up the stairs. And because I was who I was, I had to be in a stroller, so they had to carry that up the stairs too.
Oh no!
I remember being in the stroller still to this day.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was quite fun, and now that I am back home, the reason I brought up talking about this elevator experience, just to give you an idea of what it's like to go to a conference with a bunch of authors.
Yeah.
Just this one little thing has sparked an anthology. So there's a call out to the people that attended this GRL to write a short story about
the haunted
elevator.
Oh my gosh.
And they want to get it written and published by next October, which is when the next conference is.
It going to be up there again?
Yes. And the reason being, they switch it around every year. It goes to a lot of different places, and they try to like even it out on the coast.
Yeah.
So that, people can, from everywhere can attend. But the one in 2020, I believe it was right when, we were on lockdown for COVID. Mm-hmm. And so it actually got canceled. And, they had already reserved the hotel and everything. And so, part of the negotiations, I guess, with that was that they would
back there.
Yeah, that they would do 2 years there. So
that's good. Yeah. Well, I mean,
So it was this year. Next year we'll be in the same place, and then, and then they'll, decide where they're going to go from there. So, but yeah, fun stuff. I just had to tell you guys a little bit about my recent adventures, and I had such a good time.
Yep. I'm going away in 2 weeks. I might have to go live from wherever the heck I am, just because we could do that still.
Yeah, of course we can.
So that works. So we're going to talk about how to put a ritual together. Since it's Halloween, I don't want to like always come on and talk about witchcraft, because though it's a big part of both of our lives, we're not like born again witches that just got to talk about it all the time and try to save everybody for Thor or any of that shit. So, but since it is Halloween month, and I told ghost stories last Friday, and I don't remember what the heck I talked about last Wednesday. You were gone by then.
I was, so I didn't.
I know I went live, but I think I had a buzz too. I think I started drinking that night, which I've said I would never do, but I lie a lot, so there's that. So anyway, the thing I'm going to confess to you guys right here, right now, is I never remember the order in which to put anything. So, I mean, once I get into the meat and potatoes of the ritual of whatever I'm going to do, I'm all right. But like, call the quarters first, invoke the gods, cast my circle. I don't have a clue. I just kind of whatever way it comes out of my fingers while I'm typing is how I do it. So I'm going to defer to Ballora to give you the proper. And when I say proper, she's been
proper
doing
for us.
For us, yeah. She's been a high priestess way longer than me, and so that's who you should listen to for this, not me.
There are many different ways to do ritual, and none are right or wrong. It's just, the best rituals are the ones that make you feel something. And whether that something is a powerful emotion, or shivers up the back of your neck, or walking away with a sense of happiness and completion, whatever it is, those are the rituals that you remember and take with you. And I always feel like those are the most fulfilling rituals for me. And I've gone to some where, I felt less like it was more pageantry.
Well, usually in really big situations, like when we went to FPG and they did the giant ritual,
Yeah.
that you always lose something in the translation when
Yeah.
it's that many people.
It is, by its very nature, ritual has participants and facilitators or leaders or high priestesses or whoever's leading the ritual, right? And the more people that you have, it can be more difficult to bring everybody's focus in. And that's why traditionally covens were usually small.
Yeah.
Because you can raise a lot of power with very few people if everybody's focused on the same thing.
I think it takes a really good ritual leader to make that happen. I think your high priestess has to really know what they're doing and how to get everybody pushed together.
Yeah.
I went to one Beltane Flame down at Bonita Springs that was like the first one I ever went to. That was the one where Gwen begged me to go, and it was all that primitive camping, and I was like, okay, but I'm just gonna tear out and drink wine while you set everything up. So, but it was an interesting Beltane Flame because this woman that was the high priestess down there, and her name escapes me at this moment. I remember her boyfriend only because his name was Bill Bailey, and just won't you come home, Bill Bailey? So that's why I remember him, but I can't remember her name. But she's very cool. And the whole Saturday, that was the night that we were going to do the ritual, but all day that Saturday, she walked around with drummers that had their drums, and then like the god and the goddess were with her, and they were dancing and twirling around and doing all this craziness, and she would just come up and you wouldn't even know she was behind you, but you'd hear the drummers and stuff. And I remember just sitting in Gwen's vending booth, and she just came up behind me and whispered in my ear, "Sex," and then walked off, and then there was just like the god would come up to women and touch their faces and make eye contact with them, and just frenzied I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, frenzied everybody up. Yeah. Until that night when we got into that circle, and it went crazy. That Beltane was one of the coolest ones I ever went to. And then, of course, that one in your Massachusetts house in the backyard when we gave the energy balls and we were past, and also the ones where we held hands. I remember Rusty either passing me a ball or that I could feel as it hit this hand and moved over to that one.
Yeah, that's a fun exercise.
Yep. And then at Fallon's house, we went into circle one night at 8:00, and it seemed like we were in there and we were out, and it was like 11:30 at night when we got done. And then I couldn't sleep. I felt like I did an 8-ball of cocaine when I left. But that was really early in my witchcraft, and I didn't realize that you had to ground the energy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was her coffee. I was like, bitch, I'm never drinking your coffee again.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about too. When I say the best rituals are the ones that make you feel something, you remember those rituals because of the way they made you feel.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the best ritual leaders are the ones that really focus more on getting the group into the ritual, into the mindset of the ritual, and participating in the ritual rather than just watching it happen.
Yeah.
Not to say that doesn't have its place too, because it does. You learn a lot when you're just watching sort of the ritual unfold before you. But I prefer the ones where everybody's really connecting and vibing.
That was really cool. That one down in Beltane. This is the other thing she did. They tied him to the maypole.
Yeah.
So we had the people dance around the maypole. They tied the god to the maypole, and then she took all the maidens from who's not married, and brings all the girls out into the circle, and then handed them all baby scissors like that you gave in school with the rounded things. And she said, "Okay, cut him loose." That was so cool,
Yeah, that's okay. So that's a good starting point to talk about the two parts or the two different things that need to happen to be really to really create a ritual.
So if they have a notebook, is this now the time that they should start
Yeah.
writing their stuff?
Well, yeah, sort of.
Okay.
If you feel like it.
Okay.
So the first is the bones or the structure of the ritual, which is things like casting the circle, calling the quarters, purifying the space.
All the stuff I don't know the order.
Yes, all that's like the framework of the ritual. But the second part is the creativity. So it's the thinking of all the words that you're going to say and the things that you're going to do, like, you know, the maypole, tying the god to the maypole, the little scissors,
Yeah.
the drumming, the, you know, little touches or words. All of those things
Yeah.
are what you hang on the structure of your ritual to make it unique.
Yeah.
So if you learn the framework first, and you don't have to memorize it, but it helps to have like at least an idea of the steps.
Yeah.
It's not that it makes it any better. It's just that it makes it easier to create the ritual.
True.
So there's a book by Isaac Bonowitz about creating ritual, and I thought it was very good. It touches on a lot of the basics of ritual everywhere and all different types of faiths and how similar and dissimilar some of those are. It's a really good point to learn, but I'll touch on a few of those things so that you can get an idea of what framework I'm talking about.
Honestly, if you ever been to a church, a Catholic service or an Orthodox service, you're
in a pagan ritual.
You're in a pagan ritual.
Yeah. So the preliminary steps are stuff like purification of either the participants or the grounds that you're going to use. And some people also call that consecrating. And getting all of your stuff that you're going to use in the ritual set up.
Yeah.
Okay. And stage 1 of the ritual is a clear beginning. And it doesn't matter. That's why I said, when you said you don't remember the order of things, it doesn't matter as long as you have a clear beginning. What that beginning is can be anything. It can be just calling everyone to attention. It could be lighting a candle. It could be just defining the boundaries with either physical things like, dishes of salt or candles, or just walking around the area. That's why the circle casting usually comes first, because it's a clear beginning. We're defining the space as, okay, here's where we're going to do this stuff. Part of that clear beginning too, in my opinion, should also have a centering or linking of the participants. And this is like, you could just say a few words, or I like to do a very brief guided meditation at the beginning of all of my rituals, which is, okay, everybody hold hands and take deep breaths, connect yourself to the earth and each other. And that way you get bring everybody's focus together.
Yeah.
And it also starts building the anticipation for what comes next. And also stating the ritual purpose at this point too. So you got the space defined, you got everybody focused, and now you tell them, here's what we're going to do. Right. And of course you say it more flowery than that.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same. And if you can also throw a little historical precedent in there, all the better. and it doesn't even matter. Okay, so this might sound like trickery to some,
Yeah.
but I don't care because it works.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it has historical precedent or not. If you tell the people in the circle in a sort of nebulous way, such as people have gathered in circles for generations, that's true.
It is true.
What they were doing might not be the exact same as what we're doing tonight, but what I said is still true. And that brings your mindset into a different space. It makes you not only connected with your ritual space and the people in it now, but your ancestors and all the people that have come before you. And it starts to, again, raise the energy up. Stage 2, Bonowitz calls it recreating the cosmos, but it's
That's interesting.
yes.
What book is this?
I think it's just called Rituals or something like that.
I'm gonna look this book up.
I'll try to find it. Maybe we can post it in the notes. I didn't think to.
I'll look it up. It's okay.
Yeah. So this is defining the ritual center, the altar. Okay, so you got everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Now you got to put it somewhere. So it's usually a fire or an altar or a drum beat, or it's just a place from which the energy is sent and received. And you start doing your preliminary power raising at this point too.
Right.
And that can be chanting, drumming, singing, telling stories. Calling the quarters is also where this would be done as well. That's
Tell them what a quarter is.
The quarters are the 4 directions.
Yep.
And the 4 elements a lot of times. So if you quarter a circle into halves and halves again, each quarter represents a different direction, which is associated with a different element and a different aspect of protection or guardianship.
And just so you know, there are some people that work with angels, archangels in particular, and you could use them there too.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just used to calling them quarters in a certain way, but there's a lot of different ways some people. I've been in some circles where they didn't really call in anything at all, but they did place a candle on each of the cardinal points, which would be the compass points, north, east, south, and west.
That's how I used to do it, just in the colors that associated with those particular directions. Somebody along the line, I think somebody is dead now, said that you can't use candles in every direction, even if you use the different colors, because fire is fire, and you don't want fire in water's direction. Or I knew you were going to make that side, but that's what they said. And I know you know who the person is, but yeah, that's what they.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that like to place a lot of their rules onto others.
Oh Lord.
So let me just back up a minute and say that I don't belong to any particular tradition because I made my own.
True.
When I was a baby witch, and I mean that in almost the truest sense, because I was very young when I came to paganism in general, I did not gel well with Wicca, and that was really all there was to be found.
But don't feel bad if that's where you are, because everybody starts someplace.
Yes. It just wasn't, and there's nothing wrong with it. I know plenty of Wiccans that are wonderful people.
And it may still resonate with you, even if you've been doing it for 30 years.
Yes. It just didn't really gel well with me. I was like in my teens, and I was very kind of rebellious and learning. So when I did finally decide, okay, I want to go through an initiation to dedicate myself to my spiritual path, but I don't know what that path is. I just went to the most very basic thing I could think of, which what resonates with me. I've spent all this time reading all these books and studying all this stuff. What do I feel the most drawn to? And it was the elements, the very basics of the elements.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dedicate myself to the elements. And that's where elemental witchcraft began for me.
You're lucky that you had anything to draw from, because there was none of that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And everything that was ever talked about with Wicca, or if you even heard the word Wicca, mostly you just heard witchcraft. And that was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even growing up in a Greek family, there were Greek people that they said were witches that did really bad things to people, and the Italian ones too. Like and the Italian ones were worse than the Greek ones because so dumb.
Yeah.
Those are our cousins, you dummies.
Yeah.
But whatever. So you were fortunate, because I felt drawn to witchcraft. I can remember in the 70s, but was so, I was like, oh,
there's a lot of,
I better not do any of this. And look at all my Catholic friends on the street. And so that didn't happen for another 30 years.
Well, a part of that decision I want to, go through initiation, and I'm going to make it up myself.
Yeah.
The very beginning, from the very start, was all about self-empowerment. And so to kind of bring us back to our point here with the candles and the circle, my goal when I taught any student, when I, brought on anyone that was new, was to first remove that fear. Because I cannot tell you how many new to paganism people have said, I'm just afraid I'm going to do it wrong.
Well, for sure.
I can't do this. I don't know how to. I've read the books, but I don't want to do a circle on my own because I'm afraid I'll do it wrong. And I'm like, well.
Yep. I felt like that too. I think.
Who do you think was the first person to discover that this was the right way?
Exactly.
And how do you think they got there? The gods don't care. As long as your intent is respectful, they don't care.
No.
They don't have the time to punish somebody for putting a candle where they shouldn't put a candle.
Right. Because it should be a different element.
Yeah.
So dumb. I know.
So
I'm just, in case I have questions, I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, my point to all that is, if you are afraid of something, ask questions and get around the fear, because fear is the only thing stopping you from moving forward.
Exactly. So
back to creating ritual. So we've talked about stage 1 and stage 2, which is, create a clear beginning and the initial raising of power and connecting with each other. And then stage 3 is the main focus of the ritual, or the main raising of power, whatever that looks like. So it could be singing and drumming and chanting.
Yep.
It could be just calling upon the deity that you're wanting to invoke and basically worship. It could be tying herbs and stones together. I mean, it's limitless what this power raising looks like. A lot of people use chant.
Yep.
Because chant is one of those things that kind of alters your brain waves and allows energy to really build. But this is the point where all of that stuff is done. The major work, the major power raise, the major part of the ritual. And it can also include sacrifice. And when I say that, in my practice anyway, I'm not talking about a life being sacrificed. Right. It's a gifting of energy is the true meaning of sacrifice. And what form that energy takes is what you've been doing, the chanting, the drumming, the singing, the pouring of water, the lighting of candles, the herbs, the stone, all of that stuff that you've been raising power into. That's the gifting of energy.
Yep.
And then stage 4, the return of power. This is where all the work that you did in stage 3 is released or brought into you, depending on what you're doing.
Yep.
So you know, if your purpose of the ritual, we'll just say healing. We have a friend that needs to be healed of something.
Yeah.
And you've spent all this time in this ritual, just building energy. Dance is also a fantastic way. Movement is one of the best ways to just jack that energy up to the roof. And so, you build all that energy, and then the next part is sending it to where it's supposed to go so it can do its work. So that's stage 4. And it's also the part of the ritual that brings the closest group bonding.
Yeah.
Because you might be exhausted at this point, or euphoric at this point, or something, because you've raised all this energy together, and it just kind of brings the whole group again into the focus of what the ritual is. And then you're at stage 5, which is ending the ceremony. And you want to have a clear end, because otherwise you're going to have people like Michelle going home and thinking it's the coffee.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. It was like, are you asleep? Nope, I'm not asleep. Are you asleep? Nope.
So the end, or stage 5 of the skeleton of the ritual doesn't have to, but it's very helpful to kind of mirror the beginning of the ritual. So this is when you say goodbye to the quarters that you've called, and uncast the circle, or return the sacred space back to mundane space.
Yeah.
And it's also the time that you affirm success. Okay, we did the thing. We got together. We raised the energy.
Yeah.
We released the energy. It's going to work now. Pat ourselves on the back. Good job, everyone. Woohoo. Okay, now. Now it's over. We've done our work. It's good. It's going to do its thing. Everybody kind of unlink from each other and ground that extra energy, so you sleep tonight and go home, and that's it.
And then eat your food.
Yep.
The thing too is, a lot of people get into it and think they need to have all kinds of stuff, and you don't really need anything. If there's things that work for you, like for me, everything that puts me into things that put me into a reverent mood are using frankincense and myrrh for me, because that was part of my that makes me think that I'm in a worshiping kind of state. Mm-hmm. So if you have something like that you use from your old religion, or something that just makes you special clothing, special jewelry, special flowers, special foods, whatever it is that you do that makes you feel like you're in the presence of something greater than yourself, then do that. Yep. But you don't need anything except for your body and your voice.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't even need your voice, because ritual can be done silently, like a prayer.
Yep. Yep. But, once you've kind of developed or learned that framework of what a ritual is, then is the fun part. Because then you get to decide all that stuff that you just talked about, the incense, the what you're going to wear, the jewelry, the what types of items you're going to have. that's all kind of window dressing. And why do we, need it? Well, we don't. Like you said, you don't need it.
No.
But why do we sometimes have it anyway if we don't need it?
Yep.
Well, two reasons. One is it's just fun.
Yep.
And two, it helps put you in the right mind frame to build the energy. That's the whole point of the ritual.
Exactly.
Some people can just, snap their fingers and they're there. They're in ritual and they're doing their thing, and they're comfortable and happy and they don't need anything else. And other people need a little help to get to the point where they can raise all that power.
Exactly. I mean, even people that go to church, they do certain things before they get to the church and after they get there. And what keeps popping into my head, it's so weird, is like
they put their Sunday dresses and hats on.
Sunday Baptist ladies with their big hats.
Mm-hmm.
That's their
crown.
Yeah, they're going to church, man. They're going to go worship and they're going to wear their church hat, Yeah. That's in one coven that I was in. They were it was a British traditional coven, which means it was based off of old Wiccan practices, and everything we did, we had to do ourselves. So we had to make everything. We had to make our cords. We had to make our robes. We had to do all of that. So the only thing they didn't make us make were the femi and our bowling and the sickle if we wanted to have one. We didn't have to do that, but I guess we didn't make any brooms either. But the clothing and the cords, that was the worst thing besides making my drum that I ever had to do. the
Michelle is not that great at handicrafts.
No, the way I did my robe was I had them measure me at Joann's, and so I said, "How does this work?" And she said, "Well, you're going to double it over, and then you're going to draw your pattern on there." Uh-huh. So I laid down on that bitch, and I had Gwen trace me, and I cut that bitch out, put a hole in the top, put it on like a fucking poncho, and tied it around me, and there was my robe.
Do you remember the wand of anger?
Oh! The wand of anger. You're like, stop pointing that at me.
So I got to tell the story about the wand of anger.
I tried to whittle once. How long ago was that? It was long ago.
It was a long time ago. But she's wanted to make her own wand.
I did.
So she went out and she got a stick off a tree.
It was on the ground, dude.
It was on the ground. And I come over and she's like, with a knife and the stick, whittling, trying to make a wand.
Dry, dead piece of wood.
The stick that she picked up though was not. It was like dead, dry, brittle.
Yep.
And every time she touched the knife to it, more would just break off. And she's like, I don't know.
So mad.
She was getting so frustrated and mad. And this poor little wand stick was like 3 inches long. And I'm just like.
But it had all my anger in it.
It had all her anger in it. I'm like, that is the wand of anger. Don't point that at me. Stop it.
I carried that bitch around and pointed at people all the time. Remember for a while? I did.
Yes, I do remember.
On my back porch.
So, oh my God, those were the days. So funny.
That was brand new shit right there. Brandy new.
Yeah. And then I had to talk to you about how to find wood that wasn't completely dead.
By then I was already done with wanting to whittle anything. So what's really funny about that is, how many wands I got from people after that? When I cleaned out the dresser for Alex, I must have had 75 fucking wands. People were like, "We're gonna get this bitch a wand."
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And I'm not even kidding. Like, easily, like I remember when I got them out of there, I held them like this and looked at Alex and said, "Do you want any of these?" These are all going to Alegua. Bye.
Yep. So
I see 2 people out there. I don't know if y'all have any questions. I know there's a delay So I'm gonna give you a second to say something. Otherwise, we're gonna be going in like a minute because
Yeah.
that's really
And
all we got.
I hope you guys, got something out of this, what we talked about today. And if anything, if you've been wanting to make your own ritual but have been hesitant because you feel that you don't know how or that you're not going to do it right, I want to tell you, if you're listening to this either live right now or in the future sometime, if you come across this video
Yep.
and are listening to this, don't be afraid.
No, just do it.
It's okay. If you make a mistake or what you feel is a mistake during ritual, just pause, take a breath, and continue on, because the gods don't care.
No,
They know what intent you carry in your heart,
exactly.
and that's all that matters.
I mean, reverence is good for church. I'm not, and I'm not dogging that. If that's what you do, that's great. But paganism is sort of like the cousin that comes to Thanksgiving dinner, with tattoos and cusses, and that's me. That would be me. So paganism is me. If you just, you're trying to have a good time, you're trying to enjoy yourself, you're trying to really have not that you don't have a relationship with Jesus, but you're trying to have a different kind of relationship that isn't, in my opinion,
restrictive.
Yes,
and
make you feel guilty about everything that you do. If you don't, when you practice your Christianity, that's awesome. But for me, it was never like that, and paganism just really set me free. And
yeah,
I think everything's connected anyway. So Jesus has a place in there too. I don't have a problem with him. And I don't even have a problem with the Bible. I just don't follow all the rules.
Not everybody feels that way.
I know, but I don't personally have a problem with that. Yeah. So anyway, I wish you guys would have popped in and said hi. I'm going to say that next time when I come in, which, by the way, I think on Friday we should have like a happy hour or something so I can just be stupid with you because
Sure.
I enjoy that. So I'll be
So
here
you're
anyway.
going to drink and I'm going to make fun of you. Is
Probably
that what you're saying?
It's definitely going to happen.
That sounds like fun to me.
And then you'll get to see me on the camera. I'll actually catfish that night. I just didn't do that today. I'm sitting here picking my fingers because I took all my nails off.
Stop picking your fingers.
I don't know why I do that. All right, guys. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Peace out.